Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the playbook of a master strategist, Robert Greene. We're going to decode the unwritten rules of power and influence. The rules that really govern the complex social game that we are all playing, whether we realize it or not. Okay, so let's dive right into this central idea from Greene. It's a bit provocative, isn't it? This whole notion that all social interaction is basically a performance. His point is that we learn how to act from the time we're kids, playing the innocent child for our parents so we can get what we want. This isn't really about being fake. It's about understanding that we are social animals. And this is our stage. So to really master this game, we've broken it down into a playbook. First, we're going to understand the stage itself. Then, we'll cover 3 absolutely crucial rules: mastering your persona, controlling the narrative, and managing egos. And finally, we'll get to the ultimate winning strategy that really ties this all together. All right, first up, we have to get comfortable with the whole setting for this playbook. The idea that life is a stage. Greene's central argument is that we're all performers, and we've been learning our parts since we were little. So let's see what that actually looks like. Just think about it for a second. You don't talk to your boss the same way you talk to your best friend, right? If we all just went around saying exactly what was on our minds all the time, we'd offend pretty much everyone. And let's be honest, we wouldn't get very far. Mastering this social performance isn't about being inauthentic. It's about social intelligence. And it's the very first step to gaining any real influence. So let's move on to our first rule, which builds right on top of this idea of performance: mastering your persona. Because look, before you can ever hope to influence anybody else, you have to master yourself first. And that all starts with the art of self-control. The very first step to self-mastery is to start thinking like a chess player. Always 2, maybe 3 moves ahead. You need to have a crystal clear vision for where you're going. But, and this part is absolutely critical, you conceal that vision from other people. Keeping people guessing, keeping them in the dark, well, that makes you unpredictable and it keeps them on their heels. Now, this slide is really interesting because of the contrast it shows. On the one hand, talking too much, it often just signals insecurity. If you can't control your own mouth, what can you control? But on the other hand, strategic silence creates this aura of mystery and power. You're way less likely to say something foolish. And then, when you finally do speak, your words just carry so much more weight. Okay, so once you've achieved some self-control, the next step is to control the narrative around you. This second rule is all about actively shaping how other people see you. The vital idea here is adaptability. You see, people often get into power because of one particular strength. Maybe they're an amazing public speaker, or they're a ruthless negotiator. But the world is always changing. And if you just cling to that one thing that got you there, you become rigid and predictable. Like Machiavelli saw, the true master of power flows like water, constantly adapting to new terrain. And this just nails a key psychological truth, right? People get bored. In a world with constant stimulation coming at us, if you're always the same, you just lose their attention. To hold on to it, you have to create an air of mystery. This is the classic game of absence and presence. Napoleon, for instance, knew that if he showed up at the theater every single night, people would just start taking him for granted. But if his appearances were unpredictable, well, they created a buzz. Michael Jackson was another master of this. He'd strategically withdraw, making everyone wonder, what's he doing? What's he up to next? It's all about pulling back so that when you finally return, you command everyone's focus. All right, let's get into what Robert Greene himself says is the most important law in the entire power dynamic: learning how to manage other people's egos. Seriously, if you take only one thing away from this entire breakdown, please let it be this next rule. This is law number 1. You need to engrave this thing in your brain. And the rule is simple: never, ever violate someone's ego. Everyone has insecurities, especially people in positions of power. They're constantly thinking, am I still relevant? Am I doing a good job? The moment you make them feel insecure, you create a powerful enemy who will resent you and work behind the scenes to undermine you. And this slide just lays out that disastrous sequence perfectly. So you do an amazing job on a project, but instead of getting praise, all the attention that's going to you triggers your superior's deep-seated insecurity. Now, they won't admit it consciously, but they'll start to see you as a threat. And before you even know what's happening, you're sidelined, you're demoted, or you might even be fired. So how do you navigate this trap? Well, the key is this: you still do excellent work. You absolutely have to. But you also have to become a savvy politician about it. You let the person above you take some of the glory. You frame your success as you just executing their brilliant vision. It's a really nuanced dance. You can't seem weak, but you absolutely must make them feel secure.
Okay, so we've covered the individual rules, the tactics for the game, but now it's time to zoom out. Let's talk about the ultimate winning strategy, the thing that ties everything together and lets you play the long game. And here it is. The single most important skill you can ever master is to shift your focus outward. You have to stop getting trapped inside your own head, worrying about your feelings, your needs, whether or not people like you. Instead, you become a master observer of the social game playing out all around you.
And this brilliantly illustrates that mental shift. You pour your energy into reading other people, understanding social trends, and seeing where the world is going. That external focus is what gives you a killer edge. All that internal drama, it's just a distraction from the real game. So how do you actually build this outward focus? Well, you've got to start early. Green suggests that you think of your 20s as your great apprenticeship. Yes, it's a time for fun and exploration, but that exploration needs to have a clear purpose, to acquire concrete, valuable skills. Now, what's so interesting about this slide are the 3 paths it shows. You can waste your 20s just having fun, and then you arrive at 30 with no real skills. Or you can be hyper-focused on one super narrow path, but you end up not being very well-rounded. The ideal path is the apprenticeship. You have fun, sure, but you also dedicate yourself to mastering 2 or 3 deep skills. By the time you're 30, you're versatile, you're powerful, and you are ready for the next stage. So we'll leave you with this question. According to Green, power is an unavoidable social game. The one thing that isn't an option is to not play at all. So now that you've seen the playbook, the real question is, how will you choose to play?